There it is. Welcome, everyone. I've removed the force ghost effect here. We're working on our studio and it's not completely done yet. So I'm at this angle. That doesn't really matter because what matters is that you are here and that tomorrow is Monday. And we are trying to create a safe space for you so that you can look, man, have a great week this week and finish out this school year strong. I realize that this time of the year presents special student behaviors and that are unlike the rest of the year, maybe are just like the rest of the year, but with gasoline poured on. Maybe there's a sense of we don't care anymore coming from students, that parents don't even know what to tell you anymore. There's all kinds of stuff. We're going to get into all of it today. If you have a question, you can just leave it in the question section. And look, on the front end, I'm going to ask you this. If you could, I'm going to say this multiple times because it just helps out. We are almost on our 6th season. So we won't be on for June, right? We're going to finish out May and then we take a break in June. Typically, we did this last year and it was really good because then we can kind of, have a little bit of time to kind of like recreate and bounce back and stuff like that. What was I going to say about that? Oh, but we've been doing this at almost 7 years for free. Oh, I'm asking. I don't even need you to do anything. I don't need $1. If you could hit the like button, then that would be great because apparently the like button, it shifts the algorithm, lets more teachers know that we exist. And there might be some teacher out there that just really needs some help. They really need some care. They really need to be able to have that safe space to either ask me a question or to get to know all of you. And so that's what we're thinking about in this time and space right now. So look, ask any question that you want. I want to address 2 real quick things before we jump into this. Last week, I had the unbelievable joy and honor of being part of a documentary that Kansas State is making for PBS. It is about teacher retention. And so it will be out in October. So they were out here for several days last week. We hosted this crew and they came out and we shot all this different stuff. Part of that was a number of people from this community showed up to do I had to do like a training, kind of like we would do like one of our workshops or something like that. And just, they wanted to get this, like a shot of me doing this with teachers asking questions and things like that. I just want to thank everybody that was a part of that. I want to thank everyone that wanted to be a part of it, but maybe it didn't fit into your schedule, but you even thought about it. It means everything to me. And so this is a project, again, we just did this for free because I just think that the project is so great and the guys that were creating it were so incredible, and Kansas State has been doing really great stuff for a long time. So to do that. And the second thing real quick, we got a comment last week, and I'm not going to say it was even, I think it might have just, if I read into it, felt like a little bit mean, but maybe it was just inquisitive. And that question had something around the idea of asking me, what part do you think your wife plays in this? Kind of like, why is your wife talking when we're doing the live feed? And I want to break down real quick why I have my wife as a part of this. One, my wife, in battling with our local school district to get the needs of our son met, I often refer to her as like, this is only for the old folks, right? You got to be a little seasoned to understand this reference. She is like the Aaron Brockovich of special education law, right? Never went to school for it, but has trained herself into a degree which is like really, really incredible. She has also been a parent to students. She has been my ride or die in and out of the classroom, staying at my school until 4:00 in the morning, building things for my classroom, staying out until the middle of getting babysitters so we could go out at midnight to go paint the set for the play. Been in and out of this process with me, building this business with me, taking care of 2 students that live at our house, like hosting homeless students. This is something I don't talk about, that have lived at our house, and helping them navigate the world. So there's an incredible amount. And the fact that she's incredibly processed, has like done a lot of work on herself and can answer a lot of things. And I think sometimes she lends a voice that I don't have, to the degree that next season this is going to be a co-hosting situation. That's all I'm saying. I'm not setting this whole thing up because I feel you looking at me already.
Oh my goodness.
We are doing a co-hosting situation, which she is very nervous about. Why does she not show up on camera? Because the internet can be mean. But we have good people. So I just wanted to put that out there. That is why my wife is over here, and we refer to her as a not so secret wife, because she's
Because I've
off
always
to the
just
side.
chose to stay off camera. I
Yeah.
never even wanted to be even on this level. Like
Oh, I
you got
know.
me a microphone and
Yeah.
like you just keep inching me in like
Well, you
and
didn't think you wanted to date me either, but
that is not true at all.
finagle that situation. Thank goodness.
Are you
Awesome.
ready to
I am ready to
jump
answer
into
questions.
it?
Lay
All right.
it down.
All right, Mallory is up first asking, the senioritis is bad. Got a few with disrespectful attitudes because they're failing my class and others. They have 25 plus absences because they just didn't feel like coming to school, or parents just they can't care because they're 18 now. I don't want to keep them from graduating, but want them to learn that they are not entitled to pass just for being seniors. Any tips? We have 2 weeks of school left. One more added input here. She said, our admin is on their butts about their absences for sure. They're frustrated just as much as we are. They can turn them over for truancy, but for our state, it's a lengthy process.
So I don't think the truancy thing is going to matter at this point, to be honest with you, like reporting them to the state or your local borough, whatever that is. I think it's going to take too long. They're 18 now. As a parent, feels like a cop out, but if you can't get that help, you can't get that help, right? Like parents aren't going to do anything that you don't like, even if you need them to do it. In my experience, and look, I might have a really unpopular view on this, but take it as something to talk about if it doesn't fit what you're doing. When I have seniors that are failing the year and they are in danger of failing the school year, which means they will not graduate, I understand to the greatest degree in which I am able at what that is going to do for those students. That, in my case, if you're teaching anyone that how do I want to say this? Statistically, is in danger of not graduating anyway, right? So like my school, almost 100%, it was 100% black and brown males, right? All males. Black males have the lowest graduation rate of any demographic in the United States of America. Preparing to fail a student that falls into that demographic, I realize to the greatest extent possible, like really, like get it, I know I'm a white dude, and I know that I'm a white male in America, and so with that knowledge, trying to be really, really thoughtful about my actions when it comes to this. That being said, I think we are doing our students a great disservice if we just pass kids, if we just push them along, if we just say go. If you are 25 plus absences and you have Fs, I get school's hard. I get that you don't feel like doing it. I just want to know something in your life where letting kids go now when they're just getting into adulthood, right, is going to benefit them, going to serve them in the future. I just don't think that's true. You're never going to have a job where like, it's like when kids want extra credit. And I say like, yo, when you're at work to get extra money, right, to get overtime, you got to work 40 hours first. I'm like, y'all are like coming into class like you worked 15 hours and you want overtime. Overtime what? Like you have to work the rest of your hours to get the overtime. So I let kids know that I will not do that disservice to you. This isn't about my feelings. It's not about, and that's where I think teachers go wrong a lot, and I know I have in the past, is this isn't about my feelings about what this is. I am doing you a disservice if I just let you cruise by, that you're going to not show up to school. When you do, some, anyway, not all, are being disrespectful to me and to other teachers. You're not doing any work. You think you're just going to lay here and I'm going to give you a check? Nope, not going to happen, right? So I'm not going to give you a pass. And let me clarify something. I'm not failing anyone. I gave y'all the work. The work, I open up opportunities to make up work, to come in, to get extra help, to do all the things. Yo, if you don't want to show up, that's on you. It's not on me, right? If the trainer is waiting at the gym, I'm just sitting at the Planet Fitness, waiting for me to show up, and I want to show up half the time, I'm going to get half the muscles. Like, it's just not going to work like that. There's no cheat. So it's I think holding kids accountable, but getting real clear on this is what needs to be done. Here's the work. Here's what's actually important. Here's how you can get to the passing grade. And if not, you're not going to pass. And I have done this for years and I've never regretted it. It is something that I talk about with my team. It's not like a Reynolds gone, because there's a lot of Reynolds gone rogue moments. There's not a Reynolds gone rogue moment. It is about getting real with kids, but also getting real with kids about what this means. What does it mean if you don't graduate high school? You're not graduating high school for you even, bro. Like it's not just about you. This is about how many extra shifts, how much time and energy, how much money, how much care, how much support has your family put in. You're doing this for your mom, for your dad, for your grandma, for your younger brother and sister that are coming up after you that now are going to think, well, Brian didn't do it. So what does it matter if I do it? Who else is this about? And I'm going to give you a really, maybe you can pull this off, maybe you can. But Mallory, I heard someone say one time, and then my friend Cho and I did this in school. I got this idea from someone else. It might have been Hamish Brewer. You get a full length mirror. You can get them at Walmart for like $10 tops. And then you get a cap and gown. You have students come to your office, have them put on the cap and gown, and have them stand there in front of the mirror with the cap and gown on. And you watch the transformation that has on students, that this is what you're walking towards. And you are about to give this up and to walk this view, mom's never going to see. Dad's never going to see. You tell grandmom who took you in after mom and dad weren't around anymore that she doesn't get to see you walk across a stage like this. Now you get your ass together, you get back to that class, you find out what you have to do, when you got to do it by, and you push hard, because things in life that are worth anything are difficult. And I'm not going to start now letting you off the hook, because the world's not going to let you off the hook. And so that is a long answer to a short question here in the beginning. But
the end is like,
I got you on that one.
Yeah, man. To put them in a cap and gown and like have them look at themselves in a mirror, that smacks it home real fast.
This is like, do you want to do this for real? Like, because right now you're doing it it's hiding right now. You're doing it in hiding.
Right.
But do this in public. Do this for your family. Do this for everyone that comes after you, man. It takes one generation to change the trajectory of everything that ever came before.
And you really are just like throwing everything away if you're unwilling. And that's
look,
such
can people bounce back, right? Because every kid wants to go like, well, this person didn't go to high school, right? Like, who cares?
There's always a bounce back, but it's like, who do you want to be as a person? Yeah. Do you want to fail like that? Do you want to just throw it all away? Like, that pulls you in the heartstrings on that one.
Glad I got you.
All right, let's move on to Steph's question. Asking, what do you do with disruptive kids that have nowhere to go, i.e. admin won't take them? I've reached my limit and I refuse to deal with the behavior anymore. Next year, I will be a hard ass. Oh.
The end?
Yes.
Okay. So Steph, I know what you're talking about. And sometimes there are students that it's like, it's end of the year. This is not the time that we're going to figure something new out, right? That we are, as a class, we're not going to like rewrite our classroom constitution. We're not going to come up with new rules and procedures and things of that nature. There are kids that are going to push, and they're going to push hard, and they maybe don't care anymore, right? And that's a whole nother thing. That's like, I'm not even trying to deal with that right now. Like, kids are often fighting a battle that we know nothing about, but I can't fight that battle and work with those students and teach, especially the end of the year. So I think that there needs to be a conversation, and this is what I go back to a lot, I realize, but it is having a conversation with your team and with the leadership. And you need to tell leadership what you want and what you will have.
Pause.
Yes.
So she says in the comments that because someone recommended, like, ask your admin, like, if they're not going to take them, where do you want them to go? And so they send them to guidance. They tell them to have guidance deal with it. And then the student just comes back to class.
No, you're not allowed to come back to class. So
I'd make them sit out in the hallway and just like, okay, you have to sit there. Like, what's the answer really, like, for the teacher, unless you have another teacher that can partner with you to figure that out?
You have to push. You have to push guidance. You have to push.
It's not making the kid just sit in the hallway.
You go like this. Here's what's going to happen.
Speak loudly to the admin.
I need this student out of my classroom. And why? Steph, you of course do not make it about you. This isn't because I'm at my limit, because I realize that you are. If you pitch it that way, it's not going to work though, right? So you have to pitch it in a way that's going to work. So the way that's going to work is when the student is in class, here's all the things that I've done. It's disrupting other students. It is impairing other students from being able to have a level of success that they need, that they deserve, that they want, that they're working so hard for. Because Tim won't stop running his mouth, won't stop touching people, won't stop getting out of his seat, won't stop screwing around, whatever it is, whatever those behaviors are, that's that. So here's what I need. I need to be able to send Tim out to touch base with someone so that they can get their mind right. Now, if you have a kid that's just getting sent back to class and they're doing the same thing again, it's like they're coming back to class doing the same thing again. You need to figure something out, because Tim can't be in my class. Let me make that abundantly clear. Tim can't be in my class because everyone else, because I can't do that and this. Tim needs more than me. So I'm juggling 31 plates right now, and the 32nd is out of my reach. Dude, I can't do it. I need help doing that. Just keep telling them that. And so the thing is this, Steph, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, but people got to be trained how to deal with you, right? Like how Miss Shook's just not going to, she just doesn't play. Like that kid needs to go to guidance, and then I need to call guidance. If I need to call guidance, say, stop sending that child back. I can't just get mad about it. Do not send Tim back. This is what he's doing in class. And he is not finding success in class, and he's actually hindering other students from finding success. And so it needs to become a conversation, a bigger conversation than what we're dealing with right now.
I think that's hard because it's boundaries, right? You're teaching the other person like, nope, this is my boundary line and I will not go past it. This is, you hire me to do a job and teach, but I can't even do that when this is happening. But it's a boundary line. Even when I think, Steph, when you say like next year, you're going to be a hard ass. Hard ass sounds like mean, not fun, against like, just not fun, right? You can't smile, like all those things. And I think being a hard ass is just saying like, nope, these are the classroom boundaries. Like these are my non-negotiables, like whether it's behavior, and then sticking to them with a child unless something else is going on, like an extenuated circumstance. Because I just think kids, they're gonna always push the boundaries. That's what kids do, even in our personal life.
You're right. But there has to be a plan for your team also. There needs to be a thing of like, here's what we're doing in class. You can be a part of that,
but I'm saying like your boundary line is like a non-negotiable. I feel like a lot of times.
But your boundaries with administration have to be there as well, right? Where you need to be able to tell admin like, yo, you guys are tripping. Like I'm not dealing with this stuff. I can't, like, it is.
Yeah, it's teaching them how to
playing baseball. If someone in the crowd is acting a fool, I can't leave the game to go up to address someone. We have a person for that. I'm also not feeding anyone. I'm also not cleaning up the stands afterwards. I'm also not driving the team bus. Like, this is my job, is to play left field. That's what I'm doing. And unfortunately, schools try to give teachers all the things to do. And I'm saying the way that you get to not do all the things is you push back.
You have that boundary line.
Tell them what you want. Tell them what you need. Don't just say, I need help. I need Tim to not be in class until he can do this or behave this way. Or someone's got to help Tim out. Tim's going through something right now. I don't have time to figure it out, but it's like that. You're getting your stuff all over everyone else. Someone needs to help this child. They're not going to find success like this. And me just getting them in line is not going to help them in class either.
Right.
Am I going to yell at them, tell them they have a 0? Like, that doesn't work.
Right.
Like, all kids want to do well, I think, in their heart. We have to help them get to that place where they can feel like they can do that work. But like, we need to work together to do that.
Yeah, agreed. John Lopez said, if there is a copy of the ed code for justifications for suspending a child, give them to the administrator. Is that such a thing?
It's going to the books. Yes, it is. It's we're going to keep it by the books then, right? And using that stuff to help you.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Next.
Woo!
It's also really hot in our office.
It is. Why'd you close that door, dude?
Oh, I thought it was better for sound. I don't know.
Maybe, but I mean, we might melt back here.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to find a comment. Okay.
Starting heavy today.
I know. Well,
let's
they're
go.
all heavy.
Let's get the next one. Mickey Lewis, let's do it.
All right. Is asking, had to witness a SWAT the other day. The student fainted and got a concussion. Watching an adult hit a child was so triggering. How do I stay in an organization when I am against their practices?
What in the world is a SWAT?
Oh, I was thinking the prank that people play on and they get swatted, right? That online thing.
Can someone break that?
Or is that a SWAT as in
I can
hit?
speak to it. Like, I feel like there's 3 different things I could talk to here, but I want to make sure I do the right one.
I'm assuming that it's a hit. He said watching an adult hit a child.
All right, so let's start there.
That kind of SWAT.
I'm going to start with, and if you want to put a clarifying comment in there, that's cool. But let's
spanking,
make this for
paddling.
anyone.
That's what's being said in the comments.
What in the world school is hitting kids?
Is this a private?
Is this Catholic school in the 50s?
Yeah.
Like, so I think
Whoa.
Whenever there's anything in school that is a trauma that folks have witnessed or been a part of. So when I think like teaching in Philly, everything from there was a guy that escaped the mental ward down the street, was running around in a diaper with a knife. Cops had to show up, helicopters outside of our room. I've seen, we heard someone get shot outside of my room, saw them in the street. Like, there have been a lot of like heavy things. There have also been ones where teacher pulled one of those things where they called mom in the middle of class. Mom got livid, showed up at the school, walked into my room, walks up to a kid and just hits him, right? Like, out of nowhere. We were like, what the hell just happened to that? Max's mom just showed up and whacked him in the face. There are a number of those things that then we are asked to bounce back from without any training. There's not any training on this. They're not going to have a PD in the beginning of the year. It's like, hey, look, what to do if like someone gets hit in school, a teacher hits a student, or there's even just a really bad fight, right? Like, you see 2 kids like in a really bad fight. That's hard to go back and teach Shakespeare or algebra after. So I think one is you don't try and go back and do the normal thing, right? Take a breath, take a breather if you need to. Like, and so, because what's going to happen is it's hard to, and I talked about this in a video I had with my friend, Dr. Keisha, where she talked about this idea of like teaching through trauma and how when we get to that escalated state, you can't make rational decisions. Your brain just doesn't do it. It's fight or flight mode. So you need to de-escalate, which can be done by breathing. It can be done by self-talk. It can be done by like taking a walk or getting some fresh air or like something that's going to recalibrate you. Is it going to fix you? Nope. But it will help to begin to recalibrate you. I think sometimes a way to deal with a lot of these sorts of things is to have a conversation with your class, to say like, listen, I'm not going to just keep teaching. Like, that didn't just happen. I'm just wondering, where is everyone after that happened? How are you feeling? You might get a mixed bag in there. You're going to have kids that like think it was funny, that don't know how to deal with their emotions, that were like, oh man, that was awesome. That is of course going to happen. And kind of, but it's creating this space where kids you're going to acknowledge it for a moment. That also allows you a chance to acknowledge it, for you to a chance to speak how you're feeling a little bit and how like what went down. And so there's some of that too. And then it's going to, I think this is another administrative task where like you need to go to your leadership, because when we ask for help from leadership, it's not just about asking for us. It's about asking for students. It's about asking for other teachers. You have no idea how that may have triggered someone else, right? Someone that maybe has a past filled with abuse, with trauma, of something similar happening to them, that you don't know how that is going to affect them as well. So it's going to leadership and saying like, hey, look, we need to have a meeting about this, or an after school training, or have someone come in or do something about this so that we can not just move past it, but move through it so we can be better on the back end. I see your hand up there, Mr.
Yeah,
Reynolds. What's
because he's also in the comments saying that they justified it because the student chose the SWAT instead of ISS, and the parents were in agreement. It was an official disciplinary action. Principal spanking the kid. The child was 12. It's a public school in Texas. That is astonishing to me. I mean, then some of that, I guess, is like cultural. Like if that's like, I guess he's disagrees clearly, which I
don't take hard stances on a lot of things because I don't.
The crazy thing to me is that the parent was in agreement. Yeah. So like that, look, you don't have a lot of leeway.
Whether or not I agree with it or not is not even the issue here. Do I agree with it? No. That is the stupidest thing I could imagine. Really, the stupidest.
My mom would agree, like, which is that's her. I know
that's nonsense too.
It's one of those things we argue on.
So I think teaching kids to use their words, to have the conversation, and is ISS going to do that too? No, in-school suspension is not going to do that. It's about working through things with kids, helping kids to understand their actions, teaching them what to do with the anger that they feel inside, with the sad that they feel inside, with these, like, there's a reason kids are acting a certain way. And if we ever think that just hitting a child is going to now put the fear of God into them, or put the fear of a parent or a teacher, and then we're not going to do something because we don't want to get hurt, I don't see any value in that. And there are a lot of people that would say like, well, back in my day, when I was younger.
I think people think that there's no value in that. I think it's like, nope, these are the rules you're going to follow. Like, and we have a physical.
I think it's just the easy way out. And I don't think that it has lasting value, that it's so much harder to have the conversation, to move through things and
I am in total agreement. This is the school I can see in Texas, and I feel like I hear about a lot of schools in Texas that are just don't even want anything that involves a social and emotional curriculum.
I mean, Mickey, I think it also was something of like, is this look, I mean,
So in the comments, he said that he talked to the principal and he's agreed not to do it anymore, but the school board won't change the actual policy. That I guess they have the right to do that if whatever, their policy states specifics, but that's crazy, right?
That would make me either not want to stay at that school or become the leader behind a strong social emotional front. And if your school doesn't like that language, it's finding a way to put like, we're going to do peer mediation. We're going to do, how do we take in-school suspension and make it something that people are actually growing from, and not just being punished by sitting in a room quietly alone or something like that? Like,
or being spanked.
How are we working through some of these things? How do we start creating these conversations among staff so that it's like, it changes the culture of the school?
It's a little bit scary to even do, like, you couldn't even necessarily do that in your classroom with students, because I could see if
No, this isn't a Reynolds doing things on the low thing. This is like, I would, this is changing culture at large, kind of thing.
All right. Linda is up next asking, sometimes I'm tasked with a non-teaching task, like proctor an exam during the school day. My AP underestimates how long tasks would take. It took 4.5 hours instead of 3. How would you handle it?
So, I mean, I either tell folks, so if anyone asks me, Linda, if they ask me to do something, I tell them that I'm going to have to get back to you tomorrow, that I'm in the middle of something and that I'll let you know by tomorrow at lunch. I'll come into your office. So one, that gives me time that I don't just feel ever obligated to say yes. If I'm given something to do, I say, I realize what you're saying. Can I come talk to you at the end of the day about this? Because I'm in the middle of something. I'm about to call a parent or whatever. Sometimes you just have to make something up. So, because you always are in the middle, but it's like, I'm not trying to validate, but parents are a good way to get out of anything. And am I telling you to lie? Maybe, but it's going to buy you time. So it's, let me come and see you at the end of the day. And then I build my case for why this isn't going to work if it's not going to work. I'm not against doing extra stuff that has nothing to do with teaching if I think it's valuable to students, or if I think I'm a good fit for the actual position that, or the job that's being given. When I feel like my problem is when I'm given stuff to do because I have good classroom management, because I have good relationships with students, because I can handle the difficult kids, that stuff gets on my nerves, because I know like there's 4 other teachers that are just chilling right now and they never have to proctor ever because they have 0 classroom management skills. So we just give them off all the time. I'm not having that. So it's like, well, could I proctor? This came up last year. I got for last, I don't know how many years, I get the classes when we do state testing or benchmark testing with all the most difficult kids. I then found out that the school, the principal last year, stopped asking certain teachers to proctor because he knew they didn't have classroom management. So on an administrative level, there was a decision that was made where we are not going to have these people, certain people, proctor because they have poor classroom management. So instead of supporting them, instead of asking them to rise to the occasion, it was just fell on me over and over again. So when I found this out, I told the principal that I would not be proctoring any longer this year, that I already did it 2 out of the 4 times or 3 out of the 5 times, whatever it was, that I would no longer be proctoring this year because I found out this plan. They completely denied the whole thing, and then ended up changing it anyway, and they lied to me. But it's about sometimes telling people what else I'm working on. You know, I understand that you need help with that this week, but I am actually in the middle of doing this, and this. I am tutoring students. I am getting grades in from these projects because we did this extensive project that was a lot of moving parts, and I want to make sure that this gets back. I am calling parents all week to let them know about their students. I am doing whatever it is that you're doing that's important, that is time sensitive. I am letting them know. And so I let them know at this time, this task is more than I can handle. This task is going to take me away from time with students. So I just let them know. So I don't say, I don't think I can do this, or this isn't really, or is there somebody else that can do this? It's, listen, I understand that you have a need right now. I'm not able to do this at this time because I'm working on something else. That's it. I know, and I don't have the conversation. And I think that when I've done that, like, admin is so bewildered that someone even said something like that, that I just get away with it.
And it's in such a respectful way. I think that's what I'm always enamored at, like, or that I lack the tact to do. I'm just like, nah, like, nope, ain't gonna happen. Like, I'm just much more blunt, and it doesn't work. Like, I'm aware that tact isn't good. The way you do it is just so respectful and like kind of loving still all at the same time, but putting up that boundary line, that's impressive to me.
There are times when I don't do that. So I want to make that clear too. Like, remember that time I had to read the state test to a student who had some undiagnosed. So we don't diagnose dyslexia. We don't acknowledge dyslexia in Pennsylvania. And so like, for real, there's no like mandated testing if you suspect a student is dyslexic. I had a student that couldn't read the state test that really, really worked hard. State test should have taken 2.5 to 3 hours. I was there for 5.5 hours. After state testing, the school took everyone out for lunch, and I got there at the tail end. I walked right up to the director of curriculum and said, I will never do that again, so don't expect me to. And there's no way that student should even have had to take the test, let alone a test that was that long. It should have been shorter or something, like, but that was absurd, and it will never happen again. Do not, and don't even just not ask me. Like, no one should have to do that. We need to figure out a new plan for that, because I was aggravated. So sometimes it comes off like that too.
Oh, sorry.
I just didn't want to make you look bad. And
no, I mean, yeah, I
appreciate that.
I'm not even that nice in my directness. I don't have the tact. Which
sometimes it's just a half smile on your face while you're saying something.
I'll try that. Thanks.
That's why I have that smirk all the time, I think, because I'm just like, let me say this with a half smile.
All right. Is this Kyla?
Yep.
Kyla is asking, I'm a first year middle school math teacher, and my 8th graders have 5 days, 15 hours of state testing this week. How do you keep your students' motivation and morale high through standardized testing?
So that's a good question.
Our poor daughter just went through. Well, actually, no, they start Monday.
Yeah, and she opted out. Well,
Yeah.
we opted out for her. So that's a different.
That's a whole nother conversation.
So let me not just mumble that. Our daughter just did benchmark testing, and did incredible. Grew a ton. And then state testing comes up. She's in 7th grade. There's no bearing on their grade. There's no bearing on their performance. There's no bearing on their placement. Is like I just didn't feel like it was very important. So I opted her out of the test. And now she will sit in a room and play Wordle all day or something. So with regards to this, I think part of it, Kyla, is having a conversation with your students about why this is or might be important, right? So even though I, as a teacher, don't always feel like all assessments are important, how can I spin this in a way where we are going to take something from this, right? I think there's something to learn from every single situation. So is this, even if we're talking about testing in high school, testing, and the SAT, the ACT, like how are we going to start building this sort of grit to sort of get through this? Let's see how far you can get. Let's see how well you can do on something like this. I think that's some of it. The other part is trying to help students to realize that, like, how can we make this suck the least? How can we make this particular, I was just talking to someone about this in a coaching call last week, where how do I acknowledge that this is difficult, acknowledge that the kids might not want to do it, but listen, y'all, we're going to try and have the best class that does this year. We're going to try and have a really fun time in doing this. And when we do that, what we're doing is helping kids to move through this and have it be less painful. So maybe that's snacks, maybe that's treats in the middle of the test, maybe it's little dance party when you have a break, maybe it's a movie clip when you have a break, maybe it's a couple of fun minute to win it games that are going to get kids out of their seat in an organized way, that are going to let them like blow off some steam and like kind of have a snack, and then like, all right, so it doesn't have to be awesome. It's just going to suck less than every other classroom that's doing this. And so some of those games that we've done, like they're silent games. So no one's allowed to talk. It has to be silent while we're doing this. But it's kind of this like, listen, and it's not even like you're doing something bad, but I feel like my students always got a kick out of like doing something they felt like we weren't supposed to. So I was like, listen, I don't know if we're even supposed to be doing this, but I have this really funny game where we're going to do this, but we have to get through the test first. And then it's incentivizing it in very small ways, playing a little music when the kids come in. Like I would always play like Eye of the Tiger or something, playing a little music on the middle of it, it's like trying to affect the mood as best you can by just sprinkling magic on the situation and trying to making it a little better, but also acknowledging that, like, look, I realize this is hard. I realize that this is not easy. That sucks, right? For many of you, let's try and make it the least sucky thing that we can do. And then that helps. It helps kids to know that you're trying.
I think that is sometimes for some kids, for like the average, right? Maybe like, I think that is more than anything. At least I always think of our daughter, who it just really like, but there aren't many teachers even over at our school that do that. Like nobody does that. Like I said, we asked for May the 4th be with you. I said, did anybody do anything? Like any of your teachers? And nope, nobody did anything. Nobody even wore a Star Wars shirt, like nothing. And it's like, it really doesn't even have to be that fantastic. It's like, just wear the Star Wars shirt. I don't know, just put your hair in 2 little buns for like Princess Leia. They don't even have to look like Princess Leia.
Sprinkling
anything
magic, right?
It makes a kid smile. Even if you don't hear it, I'm telling you, because my daughter probably won't tell you. They made bookmarks in her English class, and like she probably didn't tell the teacher it was fun. Man, she came home and she was all smiles.
They did something super fun today.
All they did was make a bookmark.
Little slivers, were they wooden too?
Yeah, they were cute.
Little slivers of balsam wood that they got to color in with markers and draw on. And she thought it was the greatest thing they did like all friggin' year. And it's like, so the acknowledgement might not always be there. That's a really good reminder, is that
kids and teens are just silent. Like they don't show it, man, but it affects them.
Yeah.
I just really think it does.
So.
All right. John Fox is up next. This is kind of a fun question, asking, where do you want to be in 5 years? What is your plan for getting there? Asking to see an example of how you think about this so I can better learn how to do this exercise myself.
So, John Fox, you and I may have talked about this on the phone. I have very strong life goals that I reverse engineer and then try to get to them. Now, those goals change. For instance, I still want to live on a farm, but I don't want as much land as I want it because I don't feel like taking care of it. And I don't want it because
our goals have switched.
No, because I love doing this so much
Yeah.
that I'd rather do this than like mow a lawn for 4 hours,
Right.
once a week, or like tend to corn. So it's like a scaled down version of the vision I had before. So in 5 years, I want these programs that we have that are, one's going to start in July, and I'm not going to talk about it because my wife will yell at me, rightfully so. I want to be doing that. I want to be speaking a lot, especially in the summer months. I want to be running workshops on the regular that are things that teachers really need, that are really dialed in, that are really going to help educators. I want to...
We have a lot of specifics, but it's mostly about
helping
being
educators,
a resource, a big resource in all those different fashions and ways, from, the resources, like all of it. But how do we get there? Man, it's one thing at a time.
So for me, John, it's like, so I have a long list of exactly what I want. I mean, like, I can pull it up on my computer. It is the house. It's exactly what it looks like. It's the cars that I want. It's the vacations I want to take. It's the things I want to be able to do for my children and from my mother-in-law to my, cousins. It's all over the place, right? To students, to teachers, everything. So how do I get there? One, that's kind of me, like having this future vision of what I might want. Now, how do I get there? I also want to just live like a joyful and as consistently harmonious life as possible. So what I do, John, is I identify things in my life that I enjoy doing. And so then I have a tracker on my phone that I keep. I think I talked about this the other week.
We also identify things that we don't want to do or like to do. That's just as important.
Yep.
I think when you think that it's gotten deep enough, keep asking,
which
keep
I
going
keep
down,
adding to this, right? So like things like, I noticed, John, that when I get up before the sun, I feel better than if I get up after the sun is up, right? Like when I'm up earlier before everyone, it's a sense of accomplishment of getting things done. When I meditate and pray every day, when I read and learn every single day, when I fast, that's a new thing I've been experimenting with, is intermittent fasting for 14 hours or more. So it's usually 14 to 17 hours in a day I fast. Certain kinds of exercise. And then when I do those, I note, like, do I feel better because I'm doing these? And if I don't, then I change them up. So like there are things that I used to try to do that I no longer do. Like I don't have to do that because it was not adding to my overall peace, harmony, and personal well-being. Because I realized that, look, I can't do anything awesome in my life if I don't feel awesome. I can't be an awesome husband if I don't feel awesome. I can't be an awesome dad. I can't be an awesome teacher. Try and be an awesome teacher when you don't feel awesome. It's impossible. It's faking it. And you can fake for a day or a week, or if you're going through something as your dog died, but ultimately, you can't, that's not a long-term strategy. So I figure out what gives me life, and then I reverse engineer those goals so that I am always, like, in every season, I am looking towards those. So to that end, I have a tracker that I track every month. I've been doing for the last 6 months, probably, of what are all the things I did with my kids this month? What have I been doing for my health? How many, I know the percentage of times that I've gone to the gym. So the last 2 months, I have missed 0 gym visits. And I've only missed 1 workout day where I didn't go for a run because I didn't feel well. I haven't, what am I doing for?
You're really,
it's
CJ gets really nuanced, and the longer he does this. So I think it starts broad, like, where do you want to be in 5 years? We know where we want to be in 5 years. So for us, it's like, what are those actual goals and how are we going to get there? But then it gets really nuanced because to get there is really hard. Like planning it out is, even though it sounds hard, I think that's the easy part, really. It's as you're in it and the day to day, how do you have to rise to be your best self to be able to meet those goals? It always comes down to personal growth. So it's CJ uses a tracking method. I'm not that, like, I'm aware of all those things, but I don't track them like he does. Yeah, I think it's nuanced and it's always changing and you're finessing it to be able to obtain those goals and then reevaluating if you're not hitting those goal markers. And it's like, okay, this isn't working. Like, what else do I need to do or change, or who do I need to become to be able to keep meeting those goals? And it's just incremental and you get there.
Yep. Facts.
Yeah. Best of luck,
John. I could talk for it. I'm really CJ like trying to pare myself down.
You really are. I was trying to keep you reined in because he could get into, like, he plans stuff, like he planned Mother's Day. I don't even know what he's doing, but he's got something planned, which is awesome. I don't think CJ's ever done that in the 16 years that I've been a mother. Because
I'm also trying, created this tracker for my year where it's like, I know a month out from my wife's birthday, which is coming up next week, and a month out from her birthday, I will have her birthday planned and everything will be ready, right? So that it doesn't catch up with me at the last minute. So it's like, it's creating this rhythm that I can fall back on.
But that's how it gets that nuanced. Like, you keep that, but didn't start like that. It started simple.
But why? You do those things because your professional growth has everything to do with your personal growth.
It does.
Everything.
Yep.
Hit it, buddy.
I'm looking for one. I was busy talking. And there's so much chat going on in this which I love. Awesome. I don't think we have another one, which is we're 10 minutes.
Look, it's the end of the year, right? Like, our views
Let's celebrate
are down
that. Someone actually commented and said, like, whoa, just jumped in. I thought we'd be talking about the end of the school year and jumping into the summer, and like he jumped into something. This was a heavy.
It was heavy.
Talk.
So look, let me just say this, like that. Can you take that question?
Oh, yes.
That's what we're here for. We're here for whatever everyone needs, not just what I want to talk about, right? So if we were just talking about what I wanted to talk about, who knows what that, we'd probably be talking about tracking your every move every day. But it's really just about showing up and caring for people in ways that they need to be cared for. And so that's something you can always count on finding here. I had someone recently, when the documentary team was out here, they were asking me, like, why did I write a book? How did I know when to write a book? I said, I didn't know when to write a book. Everyone
you were asked to write a book.
Asked me to write a book. Like, a bunch of people asked me to write a book, so I wrote a book. Why do we have a Facebook group? Why do we have a live feed? Why do we have all the stuff? Is because it's been asked for. And so that's it. Why am I daydreaming another book right now, coming up with concepts with my wife? Because I keep getting asked to write another book. So it's like, we are always trying to show up to give teachers what they need in this time. Look, I will say, some of y'all are almost done school. That first month of after school is finished. I am imploring you to pour into yourself. Make plans now, whether it's an escape room with your family, whether it's days on the beach, whether it's learning how to surf, whether it's
reading a bunch of books.
Take that time to goof off, to screw around, to play, to relax, to pour into yourself. I am certainly doing that to some extent in June. So we will do this. We're on here for 2 more weeks, something like that. And then we're not going to do the live feed in June. Recalibrate. We have some really fun new things that we're going to do next season. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
So cool. All right, gang. With that, we thank you so much for being here. We will be here next week. If you could hit that like button on your way out, please, please, please. It helps us in the algorithm. And this show is completely free. We don't do this for money or anything like that. So if you could just hit the like button, that helps us in the algorithm, helps more teachers to know about what we're doing here. Anything else?
Hang in there, gang. I know. Jennifer's comment at the end, she said she feels like so many teachers are just at their wits' end. And I think they're like, it's that season of exiting the school.
It is. Take a breath. You will get through it and then recalibrate in the summer. It's hard to think about it logically and rationally now. Yeah. Get yourself there.
Pour into you.
You'll be all right. Yep. That's it, gang. We'll see you next week. Peace.